All right, guys. Switzerland versus Colombia. How are we doing, guys? How's everybody feeling? I know it's not the easiest day to watch soccer, to watch the World Cup, especially because, you know, we're not here in it anymore. And that's a little bit depressing, but I did promise to cover the World Cup and I will continue to do so. How are you guys feeling? I know there's not many people in the chat right now, but come hang out if you want. I released a video this morning that you guys should check out called The USMNT is Out, Where to Now, where I talk a little bit looking back at the World Cup and also looking forward. Where do we go from here? What do we do next? You're very welcome, James Charles. Thank you for continuing during this tough time. Pete, what next for the USMNT? Skills. I did a whole video, a 20-minute video on this. It's just an off-the-cuff video. It's just me talking to camera. There's no fancy editing or graphics, or it's just me basically looking back at, the World Cup and what we did well and what we did not. And then also, what do we do now looking forward, right? So that's a full 20 minutes if you want to check that out. I didn't sleep very well either. Ooh, 000 BJ's 31J. It was tough. I think I fell asleep at 3 a.m. So I'm still, and today I released that video. I'm doing this stream and then I have to go finish the Patreon about the Belgium game, which you guys are welcome to check out as well if you click the link in the description below. I'm hoping for Colombia to win this game. A lot of the, South American teams are out. Brazil is out. Argentina are through. Very sketchy through. Definitely some favoritism from the referee happening for Argentina there. No question mark. Do I think Egypt was robbed? Yeah, 100%. There was a penalty that they should have had that was exactly like the penalty that Messi got. After Egypt scored their second goal, it was disallowed because of a foul that happened like a full minute earlier on the opposite end of the field. Just some very questionable refereeing there, I'm going to be honest. But let's talk about the Switzerland versus Colombia game, because I think Colombia has looked really good this tournament, sort of like Norway and Morocco, the dark horses. And I'm curious to see if they can continue this form. If they win today, they will face Argentina, and that should be an incredible game. All right, so here we have, for Switzerland, the goalie is Kobel. Zakaria is the right back, Rodriguez the left back, Manuel Akanji and Nico Elvedi, are the center back pairing. In midfield, they have Granit Xhaka, they've got Remo Freuler from Bologna, and Ardon Jashari. Ndoye is on the left, Dan Ndoye from Nottingham Forest. We've got Fabian Rieder from Augsburg on the right, and Brio Embolo up top. For Colombia, they have Camilo Vargas from Atlas in goal. Their right back is Daniel Munoz. Their left back is Johan Mojica from Mallorca. And their center back pairing is John Lucumi from Bologna and Davison Sanchez from Galatasaray. In midfield, they've got Jefferson Lerma, also from Crystal Palace. They've got Gustavo Puerta and John Arias from Palmeiras. Luis Diaz, of course, from Bayern Munich is on the left. James Rodriguez, formerly of Minnesota United, is on the right, and up top is Luis Suarez from Sporting CP. Devonta Jones says, kind of early for this, but with our goalkeeper situation, full court press for Brandon Nazawa. Might not matter with these players' cowards mentality. The loss didn't hurt as much. Not surprised with this team anymore. Yeah, we can do it. We should definitely be trying to recruit him. Absolutely, we should. It's tougher with Japanese dual nats than with any other dual nats because Japan does not allow dual citizenship. So if they represent the US, they have to give up their Japanese citizenship, which is very tough for these guys. It's very tough for these guys. Basically, to renounce your citizenship to Japan, never be able to go back to Japan and live there, to now be a foreigner in your own country is very, very tough if you're born and raised in Japan. So we should do it. Absolutely. You got to do what you got to do, but it's tough. It really is tough. Oh, it's my brother. Hey, Chris. I'll be supporting the channel more actively this year, rooting for you, big bro, Christopher, thank you. That's very sweet of you, man. But save your money. You're in college. Save your money, buddy. Who will win if they meet, Argentina or England? Honestly, that's a 50-50 game. That's a 50-50 game. We'll see what happens. Either team could win it. From the referees' POV, I think it's probably going to be Argentina. Argentina's gotten a lot of calls going their way. Hey, Pete, I appreciate everything you have done to grow the game in the USA and giving me more knowledge about the game. Well, you're very welcome. Are you new, Squints? When did you join the channel, Squints? Hello, Americans. Hello, Steve. How you doing there, Steve Tids? You having a good day watching America lose? We deserved it. We deserved it. We have no one to blame but ourselves. Hey, Pete, keep streaming. I will keep watching, says Montuca. I'll be here, guys. I'll be here probably till the end of the year, at least. Egyptian guy said it. They're gifting them the World Cup. That's what it feels like with Argentina, for sure. For sure. Fantastic, but feel for you and Tack, sort of. LOL. Thank you, but you don't have to feel for us. It's part of the game, and we're used to this as USA fans, right? We get disappointed a lot. It's part of the gig. It's almost like you have to go into it with your eyes wide open and just be like, yeah, keep hoping, keep believing, but at some point, sooner or later, you will be disappointed. It's just part of the gig, I guess. I didn't listen last night because I was so mad. Did you comment on if you think Poch is going to come back or not? I don't know if Poch is going to come back. We'll have to wait and see. I did a whole video this morning, which I want you guys to check out after the stream. If you could, it would really help. It's called The USMNT is Out, What Now? And I talk for 20 minutes, a little bit about, the past World Cup, what we did well, what we did terribly. And also I look towards the future, players and Poch, and what we need to do. And I'm going to be continuing to make more content about this moving forward. Okay. The next few days, I'm not just going to be covering the World Cup. I have another video coming out probably tomorrow with Tack where we rate the World Cups of each player individually. Probably also going to make a video about, 10 young players that should be involved with the team this cycle. Yes, it's Ivan Barton, guys. Ivan Barton for sure. Frank Kassler says an interim manager would be cowardly by USSF. It's tough, Frank, because if you look around right now, if Poch doesn't stay, what are your options around the world? Are you going to get another top coach? Not at Poch's level, I don't think. So if Poch doesn't stay, then what are your options? You're not going to get Pellegrino Matarazzo now. And then your other options are what? MLS coaches or like a mid-tier coach? I'm sure there are some, and I'll look into this a little bit more. But yeah, if Poch doesn't stay, I still think we should be aggressive and try to go for as high of a level coach as we can possibly get. Right? Steven Spada says, head and heart hurt from yesterday. I feel you, Steven. Not because of the loss, but because the team didn't even try. But I really appreciate the past 6 years with you and Tack. Thank you, Steven. I appreciate that. Yeah, we don't have a sporting director yet either, guys. That's the other problem. We don't have a sporting director. So whether or not they get a sporting director before the coach, probably that's going to be the move. Honestly, if Poch's condition to stay is that he becomes the sporting director and he wants more power to change things within the federation, I say give it to him. Give it to him. He's done enough for me with this team in terms of trying to change the mentality where you feel like, okay, I think this he deserves more time with this team. I don't think he got to do the work that he deserved to do. He didn't have enough time. Again, we went and rehired Greg Berhalter, so that's a big issue. Yeah, of course, Steve, definitely pay to play kills us a lot. It's a very sad problem with our, youth development that a lot of countries don't have. And, the MLS teams need to get better at player development. They are getting better. I'm going to talk more about this, but it still needs to continue to get better. It does. What about Roberto Martinez as the coach? After the way he failed with Belgium and Portugal, I don't think I would want Roberto Martinez. He took two very good teams teams with better players than us. One of them got knocked out in the group stage last time around, and then Portugal kind of flattered to deceive this whole tournament. They haven't looked good, They have not looked good. So I don't know about Roberto Martinez, honestly. All right, game is kicked off here. I don't want an American coach. There aren't any Americans that are of a high enough level to coach this team at a World Cup, right? There just isn't. So we need some continuity, says David Malan. The priority should be convincing Poch to stay. If not, then we look. I agree. I think it should be full court press to get Poch to stay. And then if he doesn't want to stay, that's fine. That's fine. We can move on and see what to do then. But I think right now, you're right. That has to be the priority. I prefer Jermaine Jones over McKennie or Adams. Yeah. I mean, Jermaine Jones definitely left his heart on the field every single time, for sure. And also, he had quality. It was a combination of both with Jermaine Jones. I feel like they will leave the sporting director open in case they can get a big coach who wants more power, like they did with Klinsmann. That's where I'm at, too, to be honest. Right? If it's the right... I mean, look, what if Pep is even interested? I doubt he is. But on the off chance that you get Pep, you've got to give him the sporting director position, too. You have to put him in charge of the whole project, right? Hervé Renard, I don't know. It's tough with Herv because he did well with Saudi Arabia at the last World Cup, but then kind of hasn't really done much since. And I know he was brought in last minute to try to save Tunisia. That was never really going to work. I think we can do better than Hervé Renard. I honestly do. Well, this is a great question, right? Might be a dumb question, LOL. We should get rid of pay to play in the U.S. youth soccer system. But who is paying for all the free soccer? That's a great question, right? And the MLS teams do, right? It's not all pay to play. The MLS teams do have free academies, at least from 12 on up. But the real problem is that we're ignoring a lot of the talented players that maybe come from lower income backgrounds that maybe have more to fight for because they cannot afford to pay the travel costs and the costs associated with club soccer in this country. Now, here's the issue: solidarity payments. We do not honor the global rule of solidarity payments. And I'll give you an example. DeAndre Yedlin from Seattle Sounders. Okay, he didn't start in Seattle Sounders Academy. He started in another academy in the Seattle area. Okay. Then he goes to Seattle, has a decent little World Cup cameo in 2014, and gets a move to Tottenham. Now, in most of the world, the money that Seattle got from the sale of him, some of that would then have to go to the youth club that developed him. But we don't honor that. Now, what happens with that is if you honor solidarity payments, what will end up happening is because the clubs have to stay alive, right? They have to stay alive. So they have to pay their coaches and fields, and they have to pay for different things. So now, though, if you can get paid to develop good players and you can make money from essentially, quote unquote, selling or benefiting from, if one of your players is good enough to play for an MLS team and then gets sold, now some of that money trickles down to you. So the incentive changes. The incentive now becomes, can we develop players? So it doesn't matter if they can afford the fees. We're not interested in making money from the parents playing for their kids to play. We're interested in developing the best possible players because that is sustainable. You understand? So if you change that rule and you start honoring solidarity payments, the incentive for every soccer club in this country, youth soccer club, is now, here's how we can make our money. Instead of, just getting these suburban kids and their parents to pay as they drop them off in the Mercedes, SL 500, Now the incentive is we need to find the best players in the area and develop them. And then when they go to MLS teams and get sold on, we'll get solidarity payments. That's how it should work, right? But in Europe, it's different. In every town, every county, every city in Europe, there are multiple soccer clubs that are paid for by taxpayer dollars, and kids can go and play for free. And they have a lot of trained coaches, right? They have a lot of trained coaches that are there at St. Like in France right now, you go to Paris, it's filled with places for kids to play, with free academies. That's how they're so good at developing talent. Switzerland with a shot here, easily grabbed by the goalkeeper. I'm 13 and I want to start making US content. Any recommendations? I might also do Canada because I am Canadian. Any recommendations? Be honest and be authentic. Be yourself. If you want to start making content, share your thoughts. Turn on the camera and share your thoughts honestly. Don't try to be something you are not, right? You're 13 years old, so don't try to present yourself as like an expert on the game, okay? That's probably not going to work for you, even if you are very knowledgeable. So if you want to start making content, I would say maybe start with shorter form content like Instagram and TikTok, right? Go to Instagram, go to TikTok, and make short form videos and just share your honest thoughts, share your honest opinions, right? I have always done that on this channel. I've always said what I think. I'm not always right. Nobody is, but I'm always honest and I'm always authentic. So I think that's the way to go. Be yourself. Just be a 13-year-old kid that loves the US and loves soccer and wants to share your thoughts. That would be a great way to start. And I would start with shorter form content where maybe more kids your age would find you. I think that TikTok might be the move if you're 13 years old. But you can do it all of them, right? You can put them on TikTok, you can put them on YouTube Shorts, you can put them on Instagram. Those are your options. But as much as possible, just be you. Don't try to be something you're not. All right. Still 0-0, 8 minutes in. Pete, if Poch only wants to stay until 2028, would you take that? But would that hurt 2030 by bringing in a coach after late? No, I would take it 100% because we don't know who's going to be available after 2028, right? There might be other good options. Yeah, take Copa America and Olympics. And then if things are going well and he still wants to leave, that's fine. You can bring in another coach and they'll still have 2 years with the team. So what do you think of Colombia's manager for USA? I mean, he's a great manager. Talk to him. Anybody who's, I mean, let's see. Obviously, you have to win today, but certainly the way he's got Colombia playing is incredible. I think we should go and look for coaches that are outside of our comfort zone. Absolutely. I don't know if they'll want the job, right? He might have better options, but it certainly doesn't hurt to try and to ask. Does Mexico have youth development like Europe, or is their infrastructure just as average as the US? Yeah, they don't have pay to play as much as we do, which is kind of crazy, and they have a much bigger soccer culture. I don't understand why Mexico does not develop better players. Like, I really don't. I don't get it at all. All right. OTV football. What's up, Pete? I think we debated about the Balogun Red on Twitter. However, huge respect to you and TAC for your coverage. As a Belgian American, I was so disappointed in the US. Hope you keep going. Fair play. Fair play, OTV, and congratulations to Belgium. They deserve that win, and we did not deserve it. We didn't even show up for that. Balogun or not. Balogun or not, we didn't even show up. So we are getting exactly what we deserve. Hey, Pete, I'm involved a lot in youth soccer, and the reality is that I don't see an overhaul coming. And the reality is that we will continue to see marginal gains, in my opinion. Top 16 is our level right now. Yeah, and look, if you can accept that, and just be content with that, that's okay. I'm not content with that, and I will keep pushing this program to do better. A lot of people don't know this, but one thing that's really good that happened, and I criticize US soccer a lot. You guys on this channel know that. But one good thing that they did do, and this is just here in Los Angeles, which I think they should do everywhere, is they started a partnership with LAUSD, which is the Los Angeles Unified School District. And the goal was to get soccer into every single school in the Los Angeles Unified District. So it's an option for every single player. And I'm not talking about high school here. I'm talking about at the grade school levels, right? In primary school. So middle school and primary school. That's 400,000 players in kids in Los Angeles Unified School District that will now have free access to soccer just from going to school. That's a very good start. We should be doing more stuff like that, right? We should be doing that in every big city in this country to begin with. But also, Southern California is a hotbed of soccer talent and soccer passion. That is a great start. If they're at least getting soccer from a very young age in school, now they go to maybe an MLS club when they're 12, 13, 14 years old, and they have a much, much better foundation, right? So things like that are a very good start, but obviously far, far more is needed. Unk would rather have Gareth Southgate. Would you rather have Gareth Southgate or Triple G again? Oh my God. Why? Why are you making me choose, Jonathan? I would say I would rather have Gareth Southgate than Greg Berhalter, because at least Gareth Southgate is something different, but preferably neither. You remember the USMNT versus Costa Rica snow game 2013? Yes, I do. Yes, I absolutely do. And the one thing we're going to be doing now again in this cycle that we didn't have last cycle is playing away in CONCACAF, because now we have World Cup qualifying and Nations League. I know we had Nations League last time, but it was essentially one game, right? It was essentially one game. So at least now with World Cup qualifying, we're going to be playing a lot more away games in CONCACAF, which will be good for the mentality of this team. OTV says, no way we Belgium are a 4-1 better team. Just stunned. And as much criticism as Seb gets, he showed passion. Yeah, look, I mean, lots of people show passion. I think showing passion is great. But at the end, and I think for CONCACAF, he's got enough quality to play. But at a World Cup, this guy's can't be a part of a project that wants to go to the next level. He just can't. You can have all the passion you want. I have passion. That doesn't mean I'm going to help the team. He can stick around for now, but if we're going to 2030 World Cup, we need to find much better quality in our youth ranks. And we need to stop giving bullshit call-ups to guys like Miles Robinson and Christian Roldan and, even Max Arfson, guys. Let's be honest. He's not a good player. Even Poch finally realized that in this World Cup and didn't play him at all, except for some pity minutes versus Belgium. Bit of a dull game so far. Still 0-0 in the 13th minute. Also, if we are to compare all three host nations in terms of player development, USA right now has the edge and will continue to do so moving forward. It's the truth. Mexico loves money too much. Yes. No, it's not all bad, guys. For sure. It is not all bad. There is still a lot to point to. And before, those of you who were here before the World Cup, remember, I'm going to do a follow-up video on this. I was giving MLS a lot of praise for what they were doing with youth development this year. I think something like 51 teenagers have already played in MLS this year. That's a record. The previous record for an entire season was 30. So that's a massive, massive record. MLS is doing better with youth development. More clubs are doing it better. And even the clubs that are doing poorly have at least one or two prospects that you can point to. Like, let's say Seattle, not doing a great job, right? But Snyder Brunel is a very interesting prospect coming out of Seattle. The Los Angeles clubs, don't get me started. But specifically, I want to call out San Diego, RSL, the Philadelphia Union, and New York Red Bulls are the four clubs that are doing the best. Now, we need every club in MLS to be doing that. If every club is producing Xavier Gossos and Kevin Sullivans and Julian Halls and Adri Mehmetis, we're going to be a world-class team in no time. That's just the truth. So we're doing better. We're doing better. Some teams are doing better, and it will help. Absolutely, it will help. But we need more of that. We need more of that, right? Also, yeah. So, yeah. And meanwhile, Mexico and Canada are struggling. Look around at Canada's next generation. Where are they coming from? Alfonso Davies is kind of past it right now. Jonathan David has been a big disappointment. And they have some promising young players, but they're not doing youth development the way that the US is. And the US, for all of the criticism that I give them, and certainly they deserve plenty of it, and we cannot be complacent, nor can we be satisfied with the level. If you look at the trajectory over time, guys, 5 years ago, there was almost no youth development coming out of MLS. Almost none. There was one team doing it, FC Dallas, right? You look at the last 5 years, the trajectory is very encouraging. Okay. So kudos to them. And USL is doing it too. Some of them, right? Like Orange County, the club I support, they're doing a great job. Pedro Guimarães is off. He's moving to where did he go? Stuttgart, I believe. Somewhere in the Bundesliga as a young left back, right? US Birmingham Legion developed a Ramid Hamuza, who's now over at Werder Bremen. So it's still in small pockets, right? It's still in small pockets, but you see the trajectory ticking upwards, ticking upwards. Hosted a watch party for the Belgium game, and I watched all the goodwill this team built with casuals evaporate. Feels bad, man. Yeah, man, it's tough when we have no control over this team, and yet we have to be evangelists for the team, right? It feels awful. So I understand why some casuals may not stay, but I'm getting comments on my YouTube of a lot of people who said I was a casual. I found you during this World Cup, and even though we lost, I want to stick around. I've caught the soccer bug, right? So maybe we did enough in the first 4 games to keep at least some of the casuals. Maybe I'm delusional. That's my hope. Hosted a watch. Okay, yeah, I just read that. Edgar says, some USMNT fans have to accept that we need to separate USMNT fandom to popularity of the sport. Soccer in the USA statistically overtook baseball without the World Cup due to Premier League fandom and Liga MX. Yeah, soccer's huge in this country. It's the US soccer that's not big. It's MLS that's not big in this country. But there's so many people in this country, a nation of immigrants, pretty much, who love soccer, right? They just don't watch the US, and the US has not given them a reason, right? They haven't given them a reason to really support this team. Hopefully, we've converted a few people during this World Cup, right? See, not sure who this is. Pete, my partner was so upset after the US lost. He's big on soccer, and I could tell this made him sad. What can partners of massive soccer fans do to support them when their team lets them down? I mean, you can't do much. Just got to be there for them. That's all you can really do. And watch soccer yourself, right? At least make them happy that they converted one person. Is a Richards Freeman center back pair acceptable in 2030? Potentially. I think, Alex Freeman, outside of that cross against Belgium, had a largely very good World Cup, and he's 21 years old. I think if he transitions to becoming a center back full time, his ceiling is very, very, very high. He's 21 years old, and he was the youngest player in this World Cup roster, and honestly, one of our better performers. So there's that. But we can't just have two, right? If you only have two, then you still have the same depth problem, right? We need more. We need 4 Chris Richards, Alex Freeman level players, arguably better than Chris Richards, right? All right, Switzerland trying to make something happen here. Yeah, Neil Pierre hopefully starts getting minutes in MLS now that he's back with the Philadelphia Union. I think this guy's 6'6" years old, and he's very good on the ball, guys. He's 6'6". He's 6'6". He's 17 years old or 18 years old. 18 years old, right? And from what I've seen of his play, he's a very interesting player, extremely raw, but he's a kind of guy that could be there, one for the future as well. Nostalgia, Chris, this is my bro. Sent you a text about this. Even my tiny college soccer association went from 60 members to over 120 over the course of this World Cup. So it's not fake. That's amazing, Chris. I love to hear that. If they're embracing soccer in Missouri, that's a great sign. It's a great sign. American kids I coach love other countries' players and don't know USMNT players. It sucks, but it's where we were at before the World Cup. Hopefully, during the World Cup, that's changed a little bit. At least they know some of these players now, right? Hopefully, again, I don't think the sport in this country is going to blow up overnight. I think it's going to be incremental increases. That's what I think. Oh, Colombia here. Shot. Oh, incredible save. Incredible save by the Swiss keeper. Kobel, what a save. That's what happens when your keeper is a Dortmund keeper as opposed to a New York City FC keeper, right? So, yeah, Edgar, I think it's going to be incremental. I think we all thought and hoped that soccer in this country would blow open the sport completely and change it overnight. And I don't think that's going to happen, but I do think the progress and the interest will continue to be incrementally better, for sure. I love you, Pete. My partner knows you're one of my passes. Oh, I see. All right. Well, that's nice. Thank you, Kane, for the super chat. Corner, Switzerland clears. Switzerland cleared. This current USMNT has a good is good enough attitude. It's not just development. It's not just development we need, which is competitive pressure, but we also need to have motivational pressure, have the team play soccer in a low resource setting. Yeah, but that's why you have to get low income kids to love the game, because they're the ones that, they're not spoiled, they're not coddled, they've been through hardship, they have difficult lives, and soccer for them could be a way out of poverty. Right? That's what that's what it is in most of the world. It's low income kids playing on the streets with their friends in the back, in the favelas in Rio, in the streets of Paris, right? In Belgium, in immigrant communities, right? There's so much of that all over the world, and we have that here too, right? We have that here too in the inner cities. We have that here. I see it all the time in Los Angeles. I'll go to a park. I'll drive by a park. I'll walk by a park. And there's a bunch of, Hispanic guys playing soccer in the park. And you know who's playing with them? They're 7 and 8-year-old boys playing against men, dribbling past them. These are the kids that we should be bringing into MLS academies once they reach a certain age. Their parents can't afford it. It doesn't matter. And MLS needs to do a better job of this too, right? Bring them in when they're 10 or 11 years old, after they already have the fundamentals from playing with their family and playing with their friends and being immersed in soccer culture. So they've already got the fundamentals, all right? And they already have the mentality that you want. So now MLS brings them in. Yes, so what? I mean, MLS academies are free. They need to do a better job of scouting those type of players, though. So now when you're setting when you're selling them on, that's a $25 million play. Look at Xavier Gozo. I'm not saying I don't know what his background is, but if Xavier Gozo can go for 20 million, right, then you've got something on your hands. Now I get time to rest. It'll be okay, Pulisic. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I don't know what to tell you, Christian. It's disappointing. Wrong thing to say. Wrong thing to say. Ever been to England, Pete? Yes. Yeah, I have. I studied there. I went to Anglia Ruskin University there in Cambridge. Not to defend, he was talking about his injury, though. He should have apologized to the fans. I'm kind of surprised he didn't, to be honest. Greg Turdholler says, MLS academies are inadequate when they don't access 90% of the player pool, Pete. What is so hard to understand about this? No, I agree with you, Greg. I agree. But I can't change anything about that. I can point to the progress that we've made, and I can also point to how far we still have to go, right? I'm not going to say it's all bad, because it's not. And that would be overreactionary, and that would be being a prisoner of the moment. I have seen the trajectory getting better. Does it still have a long way to go? Yes, it does. It does. And I agree with you. MLS needs to scout much bigger areas in their field because they are missing out on a lot of players. 100%. 100%. Who do I have winning the World Cup? Well, it looks like FIFA wants it to be Argentina, but it's hard to look past France at this point. It's hard to look past France. Maybe Spain. They haven't conceded a goal yet. One of those three, very likely. I would love it if, a team that's never won it before wins it. I would love it if Colombia could do it. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Joseph says, just wanted to say thanks for covering the team. You and TAC are a big reason I continue to follow this team through the tough times. Thanks, Joseph. And we're still here, and we're still going to be here at least for the foreseeable future. So stick around, guys. Stick around. We're not going anywhere. Okay? USL will be important too in scouting the US. That's the thing. MLS is only in not even 30 cities. They're in 27 cities around the US. Not even 27 cities because we double up on cities like LA, right? So if you have 2 in New York and you've got 2 in LA, that's already, now you're down to 25 cities, right? So MLS is in 25 cities. What about all the smaller cities that have tons of talent? That's where USL needs to do better. USL needs to do a better job of scouting and developing players. Locomotive El Paso found Diego Luna. He's not an elite player, but he's a contributor, maybe in CONCACAF. Orange County's done a decent job so far. Birmingham Legion found Ramit Hamuza and developed him. More of them need to do that, though. Right? Sacramento found Davian Kimbra, and now he's going to FC Dallas, and we'll see how he does over there. So again, there are pockets. That's what it is. It's pockets of progress. And I think that is slowly bumping us up over time. But if we want a real change, if we want this, right now the line is going like this. Slight increase in quality, slight increase in progress, slight increase in development. But then that's going to take 10, 20 years if we do it that way, right? If everybody gets involved and everybody's now doing this, then the progress will spike. And you'll have what Belgium had, where they went almost overnight within about a 5 to 10 year cycle of being nobody cared about them. They were nothing. They had no good players, to now they're producing players on a regular basis at a top level, right? All right. Half an hour in, still no goals. I just want the US to be a talent factory like France. And we can be. We absolutely have. We have the economic power. We have the expertise. The expertise, let me walk that back. We have some level of expertise, and our expertise level is getting better, right? But it's still a long way off. What we don't have, which France has, is the culture. We have the culture in pockets, but we don't have the culture across the board, across the whole country. And that's the difference, right? Wow, didn't expect Pete to be streaming today, LOL. Hey, I made a promise that I would cover these games, and I'm going to honor that promise. Okay. Switzerland coming here. Running through. Colombia clears. Oh, Switzerland are through. Save. Incredible save. If we do an activity where you compare all countries similar to our population in terms of soccer level, where do we rank? Number 1, China. I'd say number 1, China, etc. We're not close to China or India. If we're talking about populations of our level, you're talking about Russia, Mexico, Brazil, and the US, right? And probably Indonesia. So I would say we are probably second then. It goes Brazil first, then the US, then Mexico, then Russia, then Indonesia. Dang, how you know your population stats so well? I mean, I don't know them so well. I just know rough population sizes, right? US is the third country with 350 million. Yes. Yeah, we're 350 million. I think Brazil is what, 200 and something? No, Russia has way more than 100 million. Let me see Russia population. Russia population 143 million, so about half of ours. Let's see Mexico population. Mexico population is 133 million. Okay, so similar to Russia. I think Brazil would be the next one. Brazil population is 215 to 219, so still smaller than us, but closer, right? And then let's look up Indonesia population. Indonesia is almost 300 million people. Almost 300 million people. And then you have maybe Pakistan. Let me look up Pakistan. Pakistan, 260 million, right? 260 million in Pakistan. But that's like India, right? Cricket crazy countries, no football culture, no plan to develop. I lived in India for 7 years. Trust me, guys. You think we have problems? It is way worse over there. Way worse over there. And it sucks for the new generation because the new generation of young Indians really is interested in football and soccer. They watch, big nations around the world play. They're huge fans of Brazil and Argentina and Holland and Messi, and they watch it. And the interest for young people in India is massive. But when they look around, what's the development plan for young, talented players in a country of 1.6 billion people, right? All right, still 1-0. Nigeria as well. They are above 200 million. Well, there you go. And Nigeria didn't qualify for this World Cup at all, right? So we're not the only country with a big population that underachieves. Kai Lewis Braun says, for all of Ronaldo's issues, none of our players care enough to keep themselves at a level to play at 41. Yeah, but nobody in the world. I mean, Ronaldo and Modric, right? Ronaldo and Modric, how many of them are playing at 41? Outfield players, nobody. Even Messi's 38, right? He's not 41. Maybe he will. But you're talking about a very, very rare exception of people. Dzeko, right? Edin Dzeko. You're talking about 5 or 6 players in the entire world that can still play at the top level at that age. And let's be honest, it's also because they were incredible players in their prime. So even at 40, 41, their level drops, but the drop off is still good enough to play at a World Cup, even though even though there is a drop off there. So Mexico definitely has the culture. Why aren't they great? I honestly don't know. Right? I don't know why. I'm not an expert on how they develop players. I've never lived in Mexico. I have a few ideas. I know there's a lot of corruption within their club system and their development system. I know they're a lot more interested in money than in player development. I know that Liga MX does a very poor job of overhyping their own players and overpricing them so they can't get moved to Europe to further develop. And to be honest, Liga MX pays so much money to these guys that there's no incentive to go to Europe, right? If you're born and raised in poverty, let's say in Guadalajara, and a Liga MX club gives you a contract that's worth $150,000 a year, okay? You're set for life. That's an incredible jump to a whole new level. And maybe, and I'm speculating here because I'm not the expert on this, okay? So maybe somebody that knows more about the Mexican development processes. I know a little bit, but not enough to speak like an expert. So please take what I say with a grain of salt. But I've talked to Herc about this, for example, who really does know, and he agrees. there is a sense sometimes with Mexican players of once they get in Liga MX contract, it's like, oh, I've made it. I've made it. I can support my family, and that's great and that's good. But there maybe always isn't that hunger to go, no, this is not good enough. I want to go play in Europe in the Champions League. I'm going to push myself and do the hard work and the sacrifice that it requires to go and do that, you know? So maybe there's a little bit of complacency there, right? So those are my thoughts. That is far from a complete explanation of it. Okay. Bangladesh and Nigeria too. Yeah, other nations with huge populations. Nigeria has the culture, and Nigeria has very good players. You could argue Nigeria is up there or better than the U.S., right? Even though they didn't qualify for this World Cup. Spicy Jeff says, very demoralizing. I'm considering becoming a normal, non-spicy viewer. Thanks. Not so spicy, Jeff. Yeah. Edgar says, that's why I brought it up. It's hard for big nations to cover all ground scouting-wise. Takes a lot of money and resources that MLS won't commit to because they have a short-term vision. They don't understand, even if it's about money for MLS, this is what they don't understand. It's like, do you know how many players you could be developing and sending to Europe? Do you know how this league could literally survive on transfer fees alone if they actually took youth development seriously? You could be selling players to the tune of 50, 60 million every year to Europe. Every year, if you were properly developing players. And they're getting better, and they're doing it more and more, right? Look at, Alex, a lot of these guys transferred, right? Tyler Adams, Ricardo Pepi, Chris Richards didn't have a fee because he went for free, right? But there are, Alex Freeman is another one that did go to Europe. And there's a lot of guys who went to Europe and came back because they weren't good enough, but at least they tried, whether that's Griffin Yao or Kevin Paredes or Matt Turner. Again, if you're looking at this, understandably, from a narrow point of view, right, where we are at right now, it doesn't look great. But when you zoom out and you look at it from a macro sense, I see immense progress from 2018 to now. Immense progress. Immense, guys. From not qualifying to a World Cup, we scored 11 goals at a World Cup and won 3 games. That's something we've never done before, right? That's huge progress. You cannot deny that. There are still issues, mentality issues. There are other issues. But we can't also ignore all of the progress that has been made, right? Calvin Jones, why is it that in the last 2 World Cups, we're the only team that goes out with a whimper? Is this an American soccer cultural thing or just this generation? I think it's this generation. Previous generations didn't have that. Previous generations had to fight harder to make it because soccer in this country was not as popular. Salaries were not as popular. Clint Dempsey used to drive from Nacogdoches in Texas to Dallas, 3 hours there, 3 hours back for training 3 times a week. That's how passionate he was about soccer, right? And he had that dog in him. They had to struggle through a lot more than this current generation has to struggle to. So they have a different mentality. Different mentality. Steven Spada says, in the immediate term, I think we need to get our team into African, European, South American competitions if that's possible. We're not going to get into the Euros. We're not going to get into the, AFCON, African Cup of Nations. It's just not going to happen. But Copa America is still a possibility, right? And that honestly should be the one that we focus on. With the Americas together, right, both North and South America, it would be very good for everybody. For Copa America, it would be good for them financially and eyeballs. And let's be honest, from a quality perspective too. Because if you take out Brazil, Argentina, and Colombia, South America has really struggled at this World Cup. They really have. And the US, Mexico, and Canada are better than the bottom 5 teams. At least the bottom 5 teams in CONMEBOL. So it does add quality. What I would like is to not host it, though. I would like to go to South America and play there, in their competition, in their stadiums, their environments, their passion, their pitches, right? And that will be very good for this team's mentality. Problem is, that's not going to happen. CONMEBOL loves the money that playing in the United States gets them. They love the money. They do. So that being said, better to play Copa America at home than to not play it at all. That's my take. But I would rather play it in South America. That is a good mental test for our players. That is a good mental lesson for our players. That's what you need. Ebony Williams, welcome back. Welcome back. Thank you for sticking around. It should rotate between the US and South American countries. Part of the problem in South America is there are not a lot of teams that can host a competition that big. That's kind of the issue right now, which sucks. Oh, Switzerland almost through? No. It's mainly Brazil who could do it. Maybe Argentina and Uruguay together could host, but they don't have enough stadiums, right, of that quality and capacity to handle Copa America tournament, especially a Copa America with both North and South America participating. It's more of an infrastructure problem at this time. Oh, Jordan, I'm sorry, I missed this. Why does no one ever mention Sakiris from San Jose? Well, Jordan, I don't know how long you've been watching, but I have mentioned Nico Shakiris many times. I was a big fan of him when he came up at 17 years old, and I still think he's a very talented attacking midfielder. The problem with Sakiris is that he keeps getting injured, and that's really stalling his development. The last two MLS seasons, before the season even started, he got injured, and it took him months to come back. And then he started off now this season playing very well. I was honestly very happy to see it. And then he got injured again and had to have groin surgery. So it's hard when a player that young keeps getting injured. It's hard to have a lot of faith in them. Very injury prone. What's your prediction for this match? I have Colombia winning this. I think Colombia is going to win it. What about a Mexico, Costa Rica, Panama, Copa America? Even that would be better for our players because at least it wouldn't be here at home. Yeah, but listen, Mexico alone can't even host the Copa America, and Panama and Costa Rica maybe have one stadium. Like we see these stadiums, guys, when we go to World Cup qualifying. They don't really have the capacity to host a large event like Copa America. It's literally Brazil and the United States. It is. Even Mexico can't do it on their own. Not right now, at least, right? I mean, you saw Japan having to change their stadiums. They could do it, right? They have enough stadiums to host it. But we saw, like, even Tigres' stadium when Japan, had to go train there. They had to move, right? They had to move. Now, look, I think that's good for the U.S. to go play in those kinds of stadiums, where maybe you don't always have a perfect pitch. Where, yeah, they're going to be drumming on your, hotel door all night and shooting off fireworks so you can't sleep because it instills the right mentality. And you have to learn to play under a ridiculous amount of distraction. I'm just saying from a realistic point of view, I can't see that happening. But it's unfair and boring to keep having tournaments in the same country. I agree. I don't want it to be in the US every time. I don't. But I'm just telling you, if I have the choice of you can host and participate or not participate at all, I would rather host and participate because at least we're going to be playing against some better competition. All right, we're almost at halftime here, guys. When was the last time we traveled to another country for a game? That's a great question. I want to say the last time was Trinidad and Tobago in the fall of 2024, right? We played all of our friendlies at home because teams wanted the experience of playing in the US to prepare for the World Cup. So it was Trinidad it was Jamaica. I'm sorry. It was Jamaica. Jamaica in the Nations League quarterfinal away from home. That one that Pepe scored the winning goal. That was the last time. And hosting this World Cup meant we had to play. But you know what? we did get to play a lot of teams that were very good teams, and that benefited us. But we don't play away from home enough. And that is the downside of being an economic power with a very good infrastructure, is that people want to play in your home. And also, you have a very diverse, that's the other thing, a very diverse population with disposable income. The US is almost the perfect place to host a tournament in the world because it's one of the most diverse populations in the world. So you have fans from all of these countries already living right here in the United States, right? And by and large, those fans also have the economic power to spend $350 or $1,000 or $1,500 on a ticket, and they frequently do. We see this when Colombia plays here, when Mexico plays here. They have home environments because they already have the fan base built in, and that fan base has the economic power to pay more for a ticket than they do in El Salvador or in Bogota, right? It's just the way it is. And so it makes it very attractive. And in some ways, it's good for the game, in some ways, but for the US men's national team specifically, it's not good for us because we play too often at home in cushy, safe, comfortable environments that do not encourage mental toughness. Spicy Jeff, did I miss your chat? No, I read it, Spicy Jeff. I read it. Did you saw John Stone's injury prank on Tuchel? Yes, that was funny. That was funny. Chris Wondolowski call up 2030 World Cup. Oh God. For those who know, are the 2038 USA World Cup hosting odds high? I have no idea, guys. I have no idea. I don't know if after the shit we pulled before the Belgium game, I don't know how much goodwill we have left. Because remember, how do you host the World Cup? The 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 FIFA nations vote, and everybody has one vote. So I don't think it's very high. But to be honest, 2038 is just too far in the future for me to worry about right now. This one here. Hey Peter, thoughts on Julian Eyestone? I've never actually seen him play. Supposed to be a promising young keeper at Brentford. I don't know if he's ever going to get actual playing time at Brentford. But a lot of people are saying he's a good young keeper. I don't like to comment on players that I haven't watched play because I know a lot of people who say this player is good, and I watch them and I'm like, no, they're not. So I don't want to comment on him because I haven't actually seen him play, but I'm rooting for the guy. I hope he can maybe get a loan at some point, start playing, because you're not going to go from not playing to playing in the Premier League, maybe a championship loan at some point, or even a League One loan so he can start getting minutes. Wolves Baseball 9 says they need to give smaller countries some tournaments. How are they going to grow if they don't get the chance to host? Yeah, I think what you have to do is start with some of these smaller countries that maybe don't have the infrastructure to host a World Cup yet. You can give them a few World Cup games, or you give them an under 20 World Cup, right? You give them an under 20 World Cup, or an under 17 World Cup, or a women's World Cup, where the influx of fans is not as big and they might have more infrastructure there. So it's halftime, guys. Let's take a look at the stats from this game because it's kind of been a dull game. Yeah, look at the expected goals. Wow. For Switzerland, it's 0.06. For Colombia, it's 0.25. So not great, I would say. Not great game. Total shots, 5 for Colombia, 2 for Switzerland. None of those have been very great. I mean, look at this. It's like edge of the box stuff, edge of the box goals. That one went all the way out for a corner. So not great. Not great. Pete, you were cautious about the Belgian game. What were you expecting? I thought, honestly, that if we came out and showed the way that we'd played against, every other team in this tournament so far, that we had a chance. Not a good chance, but we had a chance. And, before the game, a lot of people were saying that this Belgium team was old and that we had this in the bag and that, they were ripe for the taking. And I understand that in American sports, trash talk is kind of part of the game, right? Trash talk before a game is part of the game. And you get all braggadocious and you beat your chest and you say you're shit. I was born and raised abroad. And it's not that there's no trash talk abroad. Um, I just think that trash talk, especially the way that we do trash talk, is a little bit silly when we have nothing to back it up, right? It's like, what have we done to talk trash? It's kind of like, the worst team in the Big Ten talking trash on everybody else. Everyone's like, wait, what? What have you done to back that up? If you talk trash and you've got something to back it up with, sure, great, talk trash all you want. But I didn't see this Belgium team as old. I saw this Belgian team as a big threat. And I was a little bit worried that we were getting carried away because we'd beaten inferior nations and we're starting to believe the hype too much when this team had not done anything yet. But sometimes when I say that on this channel, I'll be honest, guys, people go, no, Pete, don't talk like that. You have to believe. You have to believe. And I'm not saying don't believe, but also take a look at the data. Take a look at the data and honestly, and pretend these were two other teams that you were not a fan of. What would you really be saying? Right? What would you really be saying? And the other problem is, as much as people don't want to believe this, it is true. And even Courtois said this after the game. The US talked a lot before the game about how Belgium was old and about how we got this. And, bulletin board material in the locker room is a thing. It's absolutely a thing. It's why Premier League coaches play mind games before games, right? Bulletin board material is absolutely a thing. Belgium felt like they were being disrespected by an ignorant American public that was showing no respect for a team that, sure, a few of their key players might have been old, but we talked about them like they were past it over the hill and that the US almost had the right to win this game, you know? So if you want to talk trash, that's fine. But keep in mind that every time you talk trash, you are giving opponents bulletin board material. Even if we didn't talk at all, we would have gotten shellacked. Yeah, I agree with you. And I don't think the reason that we lost was because we talked trash. But I do think as American fans, what we consider trash talking is sometimes considered misplaced arrogance by the rest of the world. Okay. Because if you talk trash about basketball or football or any other, or, football, the world doesn't play, but let's say basketball or baseball, the world doesn't play baseball, but some other nations do. Okay. You kind of have a right to talk trash because you're one of the best teams in the world. Right. But we don't really have the right to talk trash about soccer. We don't. And I don't want to say abandon American culture, right? This is how Americans do it. But just keep in mind that all you're going to do is make the opponent go, what a bunch of arrogant idiots. Let's teach them a lesson. It's the truth, guys. It's the truth. Bulletin board material does work. It has an impact. So I do think in the future, we can support our team and be positive and, even believe, but also maybe look for a little bit of dose of realism, right? Take a little dose of realism and go, we've done some things against the smaller teams, but we're still very suspect defensively and we don't have a good goalkeeper. So just something we can keep in mind for the future, I think. All right, let's have a word in the meantime from our sponsor. Okay. So, FanDuel is a sponsor of the channel. France versus Morocco, guys. I said this on the video that I published earlier, but France-Morocco is the only game of these quarterfinals where I see a real gap. Belgium, maybe. Belgium could beat Spain. So I think Belgium and Morocco. Look, France is very tough, and I can't see Morocco winning. But at plus 310, it might be worth throwing $5 on because anything can happen. Spain versus Belgium. I mean, you have to give credit to Belgium. Beat Senegal, thumped the US. They've definitely improved as this tournament has gone on, even though they started slowly, right? Even though it started slowly. So I would say if you're going to put $5 or $10 down, put it on either Belgium or Morocco. All right. Thank you to FanDuel. Let's read a couple more of these super chats here. We dominate the Summer Olympics, which demonstrates that we probably have the greatest athletes in the world. Sure. I mean, yeah, in other sports, but in soccer, we don't have the technical quality to compete with the best in the world, and we also don't have the best American athletes playing soccer, right? Revolution Soccer says, would you and TAC be willing to talk via email, text, or call about soccer development and proper steps from ages 5 to 18 to create elite players? I mean, sure, we're always open to going on other, channels or other outlets and sharing our thoughts for sure. For sure. If you want to do something, send me an email. It's a little tough right now with the World Cup. Super busy. Like even today, I did a video this morning. I'm doing the live stream now. And then when I'm done here, I have to go finish the Patreon video for that to recap that Belgium game, which I'm not looking forward to. So it's just pretty busy these days. I have another video coming out tomorrow. So right now, the schedule's a little bit tight, but possibly post World Cup. England versus France final. Think England has a chance. I think they have a chance, but Norway is going to be a very tough test. Norway is going to be a very tough test. Very tough. And then they have to beat the winner of Argentina versus either Colombia or Switzerland. So I don't think it's going to be that easy for England. They have a chance. Anybody who's in the quarterfinal has a chance, right? They have a chance. Still going to be very tough. But Pete, what Belgium has won? Nothing. So we got to talk trash to them. Well, they've made it to the third place in a World Cup, which we haven't even gotten close to. We haven't even made a semifinal. We haven't made a quarterfinal in 24 years. So what have they won is not, it's not about what they've won or haven't won. This is a team that is superior to ours in every department, right? And so you can talk trash, that's fine, but just keep in mind that will be viewed as arrogance by the Belgians, and it absolutely motivated them, and they admitted that. So it's not just me saying that. Even the Belgian players were saying it afterwards, right? I mean, look at Lukaku's yelling "fuck you" at the US supporters. I don't know if that's right. Okay. But they did a lot, the talking and the Trump down. They were giving a shit, and they have every right to. They have every right to. You could say still no trophy in their cabinet, guys. 8 teams in the world. 8 teams in the world have won the World Cup. Okay? That doesn't mean you could say, oh, that everybody else is the same. No. No, there's a clear hierarchy, and Belgium is far superior to us. You don't do that on our soil? Yeah, but they were of every right to be aggrieved, guys. We went around the rules to get Balogun's red card, and you saw it before the game. The media and the fans were talking a lot of shit. So if you're going to talk a lot of shit, we have to be able to take it, right? We can't get mad that they're talking shit back, okay? We talked shit, fine. Guess what? When you get thumped in the way that we got thumped, they're going to talk shit back. And that's the best time to talk shit, after you win, not before the game. Okay, we don't care, Pete. Well, clearly some people care because they're talking about it in the chat. Okay, guys, halftime of Colombia versus Switzerland. Guys, can we please not fight in the chat? Come on. Come on, let's all fucking chill here. We're all on the same side. We're all on the same side here, guys. The USMNT game still has me down bad. I know. I know. Feel the pain. That's the only way to let it go through you. Feel the pain. And you know what? And I said this on when I started the Patreon video this morning. Remember this pain, because this pain is, this pain is what makes the highs so much better, right? The highs are so much better when you go through this pain, because you remember what you've been through and you remember the big difference. Okay. Who's the troll, guys? Who's the troll? I don't see any trolls. Next World Cup, we're all going to Spain. I'm not going to lie, Steven Spada. I am trying to save my money for that Morocco, Spain, Portugal World Cup next time round. Just two kids going at it for no reason. Who are these two kids? Is Wolves Baseball 9 one of them? Who's the kids? He means me because he thinks I'm MAGA. Guys, please don't bring politics into the chat here. Come on. Come on. All right, second half is about to kick off here, guys. Second half is about to kick off. Still 0-0. Jashari is off, and Jibril Sow is coming on for Switzerland. This is what 90 minutes of Ream and Freese does to a man. Neither of them should play for the U.S. ever again. I'm sorry. Freese doesn't have it. Neither does Matt Turner. We need to go young. I'd say give it to Chris Brady for now, while also bringing in guys like Diego Cochin, Duran Ferree. Now, these guys have to earn it too. They have to be playing professionally somewhere. The reason I say those three is because at least they're all going to be playing professionally. Cochin, fingers crossed, is going to be playing professionally in the Danish Super League, right? Maybe even Brian Schweik. I haven't seen Brian Schweik play, but from what I've heard, he's been lights out for Nashville this year, and he's still just 24, so not that young. But I wouldn't mind giving him a look. But we got to go younger and look at potential with the goalkeepers, and we got to get rid of these mid players that are already in their prime. It just doesn't work. No, it's not Ream's fault. He is who he is. He's a 38-year-old MLS defender who is long past it, right? He's got to go. It's overdue for retirement from Tim Ream. And if I'm him, I just retire. If I'm him, I just retire. I don't wait to get not called up. Just retire. Bow out. Thank you for your service, Tim. You know. Yeah, let me get the score back up here for you guys. All right, Wolves, come on. That's enough, man. It's enough. Bring in young kids and build out depth and competition. Yeah, 100%. That is the way. 100%. Get some of the young kids in. They still have to earn it, right? They still have to earn it. No, stop. You cannot just hand it to them, right? That's what maybe one of the reasons why this generation is so entitled. There was literally no one. That older generation had flamed out at Cuva, and there was literally no one. So we had to bring in the kids. There was no choice. People say, oh, Berhalter gave a chance to the youth. Please, he had no choice. There was nobody else. In fact, he was way too slow to integrate the youth players. So you still need to make them earn it, but you can start integrating them and letting them compete for a spot. You don't just hand them a spot, you let them compete for it, right? You want Mathis Albert breathing down Christian Pulisic's throat, trying to take his spot on that left wing. That's what you want. For example, you want Kevin Sullivan trying to push Weston McKennie. Now, look, that's not going to happen right now, tomorrow, right? There's still a gap. These are teenagers. But as they develop, they can push more and more and more. And it will also have the double of effect of making the players above them better, because now they look over their shoulder and they're like, oh, this kid is coming for my spot. I better up my game. I can't just say no to a Gold Cup call-up. I've got to get going. I'd better make sure I show up every single time, or they're going to give my spot to this kid. That's what you want. That's what all the big teams in the world have, right? They have somebody pushing for their spot. So if they play like shit, they're gone. There's no way that's a penalty. No, barely grabbed at him. He went down way too easily. So basically, we're still paying the price for Kuva. We're paying the price of a lost generation. From 2014 to 2018, 2019, we didn't have players coming through that were of quality. We just didn't. So that lost generation inadvertently led to an entitlement attitude amongst this better generation, because there was nobody challenging them for their spots. And they looked around, they went, oh, we are it. This is great, right? So yes, we still are paying the price of that lost generation. Thankfully, that era is over, hopefully, with this next generation coming through that can actually put some pressure. When's the next national team camp? September through October. So now they're going to do national team camps a little bit differently. Instead of 2 camps with 2 games each, it's going to be 1 long camp with 4 games. So that camp's roster is going to be very, very important, right? Very, very important that we start integrating some of these youngsters now right away. Triple G did a lot of damage. Yes, he did. One of the reasons this player pool is so entitled is because of the soft mentality that Greg Berhalter had and that he tolerated and instilled in this team. It's not all Greg Berhalter, right? Because these players also seem to have that mentality on their own. But Berhalter encouraged it and incentivized it. He made leadership councils of his 3 favorite players, and they basically had too much power within the roster when they were 19 years old, which they shouldn't have had, right? But Greg Berhalter is a big wimp. Only a man who would kick his wife or beat a woman is a pussy. All right. And that mentality, not of beating his wife, but of being a soft, pathetic man, has stayed with him his entire life. And in this is 6 years in charge, He tolerated, encouraged, and permitted an attitude of complacency and entitlement, which Poch is still trying to undo. That's why I think we give Poch another chance. If he wants to stay, I think you have to hand him the reins again. There's been enough progress under Poch to go, okay, there's still work to be done. The mentality is still a work in progress, and the player pool is still a work in progress. But Poch has already showed that he can improve this team. He certainly has, right? 11 goals at a World Cup, guys. We've never done that. Never done that. Not even close. Our record was 7 in 1930, 6 in 2002, right? 3 World Cup wins. We've never had that, ever. Not in 1930, not ever, right? That's progress. A knockout win, we've only done that twice, 2002 and yesterday. I know it was Bosnia, but it's still a knockout game. We went down to 10 men, not only didn't concede, but went and scored another. That was progress. There were signs of progress. That's why, if he wants to stay, I think we should let him. Why would he stay? Maybe he likes the project, Jeff. I don't know. Maybe he likes the project. Maybe we give him more power. Maybe we make him the general manager as well as the head coach. So he has more power with some of the youth teams and to bring in coaches that can help develop the youth teams to play in the way he wants to play. If Poch wants that, I think you give it to him. I do. Culture change takes time. 100%, Steven Spada. 100%. Can't believe you only have 2 knockout wins total. Thought it'd be more. We're just not that good, K-Plum. We're just not. Also, you have to remember, in the modern era, the U.S. has only started qualifying for World Cups again in 1990. From 1950 to 1990, we did not we didn't qualify for World Cups. So we finally started qualifying again in 1990. So it's really only been about 36 years that we started qualifying again. And in those 36 years, we only have 2 wins. It's not good enough, for sure. It's awful. It's terrible. We have a lot of work to do, but it's reality. We have never won more than 1 knockout wins in the World Cup. No, we've won 2. We had Bosnia in this World Cup and Mexico in 2002. Antonio Azaredo says, people mocked Uruguay for living in the past, yet here we are still having 1930 as our high point. I don't think it's our high point. If I'm going to give you stats, I have to be comprehensive about what I'm talking about. I don't think that's our high point at all. Our high point is probably 2002. Our high point is 2002. All right. El Sancho Marco says, should we go back to being a bunker team like Australia? No, I don't think so. I think we should be able to bunker when needed, but definitely not like Australia. Look, we have better players than Australia. And most of the time, we will face teams that we are better than, that we have better players. And we need to keep continuing to play the way that we have been playing under Poch at this World Cup, right? But you need to have being able to bunker in your locker as needed. If it's for 20 minutes in a game, you need to be able to do that, and you need to be able to do it well. If it's for 45 minutes against a team like France, you have to be able to do it. Yes, hit that like button, guys, if you have not done so already. Also, if you want to check out the Patreon, guys, click the description below. The Patreon, we do live giveaways. I do breakdowns of every USMNT game. We do scouting reports for young players, and that's going to be a big emphasis on Patreon for the next few months, is looking to the future. It starts at $3 a month. That's less than a cup of coffee. You help to support the channel. You get access to a bunch of content, and we have giveaways like USMNT jerseys, World Cup tickets, probably USMNT tickets for the next few camps as well. We're going to be doing giveaways there. So check it out. Long ball from Switzerland. Colombia have that covered. $57, still 0-0 between Switzerland and Colombia. So much this, Liam Davis. Poch only had 10 camps to try to break 10 years of bad habits. I think that's just not enough time. Yeah, it's not. That's why I am pro giving him another contract if he wants it. And also, you want Poch to get the young players in from the beginning. We're going to start bringing in more of these young guys from the very beginning. It needs to be, this is the standard. This is what you do when you're in camp. This is how we compete. This is how we show up. You want to be a part of this team? This is what is required of you. Let those young guys get that in their heads young and early so it has a lasting impact. So not Dominic. I already talked about Julian Eystone. I've never seen the kid play, so I do not want to speak about his quality because that would be disingenuous. Switzerland are trying here. They're coming at him. 58 minutes. Wolves Baseball 9 says, sorry I got so fired up. What I saw yesterday was so unacceptable and inexplicable. Belgium is good, but they ain't France. We had no guts. Go down swinging at least. I agree with you 100%. And I talked about this for 2 hours last night. It's a mentality issue, for sure. 100%. It's not acceptable. That's why I don't think we should, call in Christian Pulisic the rest of the year. I think there needs to be some consequences for Christian Pulisic. Right? If you're going to just not turn up at a World Cup and be entitled and not show up for Gold Cups and, give the ball away 11 times in one half against Belgium, maybe you should take a break from this national team. $60, 2/3 of the way through the game, guys. Colombia, James, shot from distance, rolls harmlessly into Cobo's. Oh no, it was John Arias into Cobo's hands. Spot on. Guys need to be pushed more by internal competition. I think it explains some of the difference, by the way, players' performances for USMNT versus club teams. No, 100%. And to do that, we need competition to push them, right? We need some of these younger players to come through and start pushing them. Because no matter what you think, Sebastian Berhalter ain't pushing Weston McKennie or Tyler Adams. He's not. The quality gap is too big, right? He can make up for the quality gap somewhat with being passionate and kind of rah-rah, but it's not real. Even, you can't just let a far worse look. If the gap is close, if you're 10% better, even 15% better, sure, then it absolutely matters. When the gap is as big as it is, it doesn't matter. So we need quality in order to push the quality that we have. And then it has a domino effect on the whole team, because not only are you making the team better with the talent you've brought in, you're making the players that are already there better because now they've got real competition for spots, and so they have to push harder. Well, I was being a bit facetious, Pete, but 1930 does remind us that our failure to achieve a higher level is a long, long frustration. Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I think it is what it is. I don't look to 1930 as any kind of like golden era. We got out of the group, and let's keep in mind, in 1930, we got out of the group, right? And then we lost 6-1 to Argentina in the semifinal. That was the next game. So, look, we did the same thing we did many other times to still get out of the group. I still think our best ever World Cup was 02. We got out of the group, a tough group, beating Portugal, by the way, in that group, beat a very good Mexico team 2-0, and then narrowly lost to Germany in the quarterfinal. That was still our best World Cup. This could have been if we had beat Belgium. And in some ways, you can argue we looked better at this World Cup than we ever had until that Belgium game. That's when it all came crashing down. And it's not for a lack of talent, it's a lack of mentality. Belgium could still have beat us if we played well and played hard and played the American way, but it would not have looked like that. It would not have looked like that. I saw the two billionaires that paid most of Poch's salary on CNBC last week. Someone should be meeting with them today. Yeah, I mean, we should do everything we can to keep Poch. 100%, Jeff. 100%. Thanks to you and TAC, this fandom is better. Well, and all of you, right? This fandom only works because we all push each other and we come together and we're a community and we express our thoughts and opinions. It's not just me and TAC. We're basically we're just the faces of this community, but this community is all of you. It's all of you. And when all of us express our opinion, when all of us show up in force and, demand more and fight against mediocrity and fight against the status quo, we can have a voice. One of the reasons we got rid of Greg Berhalter was because of this fan base. The fan base was so loud and so noisy. Remember, we even made a whole campaign tagging sponsors on Twitter, and we tagged them and we said we were going to boycott their products and we were never going to, if they continued to be a part of this federation that had Greg Berhalter. There was so much pressure on U.S. soccer that they had no choice but to fire Greg Berhalter. There was no choice. They knew the fan base was done, finally, right? So who was it that said it? It was a famous sociologist whose name I forget, a woman. She said, "Never doubt that a small group of committed people can change the world. In fact, it is the only thing that ever has." And obviously that's melodramatic. I don't think we're changing the world. But the point is, as a fan base, we can do our part to demand more when we stick together. Yeah, Margaret Mead. Thank you, Alex. Margaret Mead. Yeah, it was Margaret Mead. Well, good for Carly, if that's what she said. I agree with Carly. USMNT World Cup 26 is a failure, right? Good. Good. We need more of the mainstream media saying that, because Fox Soccer wasn't saying it. Fox Soccer yesterday was Stu Holden. "We're just so proud of the boys and they're great and they made us believe, and look at this fan base." The guys at Fox Soccer are just a classic shills for mediocrity, right? Classic shills for mediocrity. But good on Carly. Good on Carly Lloyd for calling it out. Good for her. It is a failure. It is a failure. Do you think Poch would want to stay here after that performance? I think that if he thinks that performance was a one-off and that he still has work to do with this team and he likes the project, and we're giving him more resources in order to do what he really wants to do, great. Then maybe he will. But I have no idea what's going on in his mind, so it's hard for me to say. We should try. We shouldn't let him go without a fight. And credit to U.S. Soccer. They already offered him a contract before the World Cup. It was a statement of their belief in the project of what he was doing. And also, Pochettino said he's happy here. He said he has a very good feeling. He likes the project. He's probably evaluating all of his options right now, but we should put a very good offer on the table and we should give him more resources. We should give him control of the youth teams. That's what I think. Because what then Poch will do is go great. The under 20s, the under 23s, the under 19s. He can bring in his own coaches or coaches that he knows, or have the existing coaches play the style that he wants to play with the senior team in order to have continuity through all the age groups. That's what I think we should give him. I sent very spicy emails for the Fire Triple G effort. That was amazing. After Copa America, as bad as it was, watching the entire fan base come together, even the MLS shill fans, right? The MLS fanboys came together. Even American Outlaws. Everybody came together finally on something that Tack and I and all of you here had been saying for years, that Berhalter sucked and he needed to be gone. And so then when all of us together finally made our voices heard, and we started that whole campaign with the sponsors, and it went everywhere. Casey Keller on ESPN FC was going, "Don't tag the sponsors, not the sponsors. That'll ruin everything." Yeah, we know. That's why we're doing it, buddy. That's why we did it. There needed to be some accountability. And the only thing that works is when you hurt what matters. When all somebody cares about is the bottom line, then you have to hurt the bottom line. That's the only language that people in power speak sometimes. So when you hurt the bottom line, they get scared and they capitulate. All right, 68, 68th minute. We're almost at the 69th minute, right? Still 0-0. Are we going to go to extra time and penalties? Oh my God, I might not even be able to finish the Patreon video today. Might have to release it tomorrow morning. '69th minute. We're in it. Nice. Nice. Gonna have to miss my mental therapy. Well, this is mental therapy, J. Crew. Spicy Jeff says, I did receive several cease and desist letters. Who do I have winning the World Cup? It's hard to look past France, honestly. It's hard to look past France. Whoa. Pete, do you think that Pulisic will demonstrate any accountability for his poor play and entitlement? I have a feeling he won't. No, I don't think he will either. Didn't even apologize to the fans. Like, saying sorry to the fans, while it might seem meaningless, is at least a gesture of ownership and accountability. We were not good enough for you, and we apologize. We should have done better. You deserved better. Because this Pulisic will complain when the fans don't show up, right? He's done that in the past. Oh, we really need the fans. Remember the Morocco game? They're not here. You know, it really hurts us. But then when the fans do show up and he doesn't show up, is there any accountability there? Nope. Nope. Sorry. He's not the captain, guys. He's not the captain, and he should never be the captain going forward. What we really want for change is pro-rel, so it builds a merit-based system from the ground up. Talented developmental academies can earn money from player development and help foster true sustained growth. Yeah, well, credit to USL. They're the ones trying to do pro-rel. I think they're starting in 2 years, or not next year, but in 2 years, right? So credit to USL. They're going to try it. And if you want to see it succeed, then you have to go and support USL. Go to the games, buy their jerseys, right? Watch them on TV. They need sustained money in order to make it work. So if you believe in that, I'm already watching USL. I've been going to Orange County games. I bought an Orange County jersey. I try to watch them on TV when I can. You've got to put your eyeballs and your wallet where you believe in something, right? And so if you believe in that, then 100, and I agree with you, by the way, Fallen Phoenix, go support that because you're 100% right. Jacob Ramirez says, I'm so numb. Thanks for your work. I hate this team. Germany, Senegal, and Paraguay games made me believe this team would at least go down with honor. We have nothing now. Yeah. Humiliating. Oh, no. Clash of heads between Colombia's goalkeeper. Oh, no. I hope he didn't break his ribs. Brio Embolo, head to the chest. Ooh. I think they'll both be okay. I think the goalkeeper maybe broke his ribs or fractured a rib or something. Clell Carnis says, I'm a season ticket holder for the Charleston Battery. Even season tickets are not too expensive and a great way to support the USL. Good for you, guys. Good for you, Clell. Guys, follow his example. Put your money where your mouth is. Did I miss your super chat? Oh, sorry, to Jeffrey. I remember when Tax La Pirata joke made it on TV. Yeah. Oh, they all know who we are, believe me. They know good and well who we are. MLS is like on a mandate not to talk to me or Tack. Okay. Colombia, my second team, but I'm still too depressed, USA. I'm sorry to hear that, man. Nothing you can do but embrace it. Let it run through you. It's like grief, right? You got to go through the stages of grief when your team gets knocked out at a World Cup. That's what you have to do. You have to go through it. It's like a breakup, right? Let's say you have a bad breakup. If you just shut down those feelings and don't let yourself feel them, they'll come out later in another way. You've got to go through the stages of grief. Or when somebody dies, someone you love dies, there's stages of grief. It's part of the human experience. And it's important for human flourishing to be able to grieve normally. So let it wash over you. Feel it. Tillman thanked the fans. Good for him. That sounds like something Tillman would do. "75 minutes, guys. Please don't tell me we're going to extra time and penalties. This is not good." Why won't MLS go developmental? We have to evolve. No, I agree. And to be honest, Rich Rod, they are going developmental. That's what I was kind of saying earlier. They're doing a lot better. And I'm not an MLS fan, right? I'm not. Anybody who knows me on this channel, I'm no shill for MLS. But I do see progress. There needs to be more. It's not enough. It's only a few clubs doing it right now. It's about 4 clubs doing it. There needs to be a lot more than that. A lot more than that. Holy Shrimp says, what's your thoughts on developing standards and coaching in public school, high school soccer, and in turn college to help counter pay to play at travel ball level? Baseball has this problem now too. Well, to have good coaching, you have to have a good culture, right? You have to have a good culture and you have to be able to pay money. The problem is that most athletic departments in this country, they don't have the money to pay for a soccer coach. So they're hiring a math teacher or they're hiring some outside guy for the soccer season. I've seen these ads before because I've always thought I could get into high school coaching here and maybe try and do my part, but it's just not worth it. For the amount of hours that you have to work, they pay you a little stipend. It's almost like working for free. So the big problem is like, yeah, you can have there are very good coaches that would coach in high school, but there's no money in it. You can't ask people to work for free, right? People have to live, they have to pay their bills. So there's no money in high school ball. And frankly, the best players should stay away from the college soccer. College is not for developing players. College is for education, and then sports is just fun. Maybe it's that way in other sports, but in college soccer, it's not. There's no development going on in college soccer. There are a few outliers here and there that come out of college soccer, but even now, MLS doesn't draft. They don't draft people into the league that much from college anymore, right? Because the better development is to go through the academy and then start playing when you're 17, 18 years old. By the time you're 22, this college thing is a joke. It's over for you. It's over for you. The only way you can make money on player development is to sign players to you as an agent. Otherwise, it's pay to pay to fund coaches and gear. Not true. Not true, Revolution Soccer. I mean, maybe that's how it is right now, but what you really need is solidarity payments so that when your player is good enough and they go to MLS and they have a career and then MLS sells them on, that money trickles down to your club as well, right? So that is how it should be. That's how it is in the rest of the world, right? If a League 4 club in England develops a player and he ends up playing for, let's say, Brentford, and then Brentford sells him to Chelsea for 35 million, it's literally FIFA mandated that those solidarity payments go down to the club that helped to develop them. And so that's how those clubs can help to stay afloat, right? Merge with other leagues and have relegation and promotion. I mean, that would be the ideal world, right? That would be the ideal world. MLS merges with USL and they create 4 divisions and they have promotion and relegation. That would be ideal for sure. I don't think it's ever going to happen. So USL is trying to do it on their own. Still pissed about yesterday. Argent FIFA robbing. Yeah, FIFA definitely some questionable calls in that Argentina game. Jason Morales, you know what else is mandated by FIFA? Promotion relegation in your league. Promotion relegation in your league. But FIFA doesn't hold America to those same rules. They don't, because they want American dollars. They want American dollars. So they don't hold America to the rules that they hold everybody else to. It's exceptionalism at its finest. And it's why we have MLS, which is largely an exhibition league. No stakes, no real pressure, no quality. Why Argentina out of all teams? Because of Messi. Messi gets views, right? They know that Lionel Messi gets views all over the world. So the longer Argentina is in it, the better it is for TV ratings around the globe. 80 minutes and it's still 0-0. Why does every live stream I do end up in 0-0? What am I doing to jinx these streams? Somebody tell me. Star Wars Satan says, so you hate paid to play, but you want high school coaches to get paid more. Make it make sense. Do you know what pay to play is? I don't think you understand what pay to play is. Listen, pay to play is when the player, the parent of the player, joins a club and pays $3,000 to that club in order to pay for coaching and uniforms and travel and fields, all the expenses of the club. That is what pay to play is. A school investing more money to get a better coach to make their soccer program better is not pay to play because the players are not paying for that. Okay. So high school soccer gets nothing close to the resource and money of high school football. Yeah, it is a problem. It's a problem because you're paying more to the coach, but then maybe people don't show up to watch the games, right? So it's like, it's sort of a cart and horse problem. It's a cart and horse problem. But generally, High school soccer is not really a development place. It's not where you're there to develop. High school soccer is there to get your education and play soccer for fun on the side. The best players aren't in high school. The best players are going to the academies, a lot of them. But understand what pay to play is and what it isn't. All right, 82 minutes, guys. 82 minutes. Switzerland trying. Colombia have not created much here. Neither have Switzerland, to be fair. It's been a very dull game. Revolution Soccer says, but wouldn't the agent route work better? As an agent, I would have moved Cavan to BVB, Salzburg, PSV to keep developing, then MLS sending him to City. So agents should be a separate thing from academies, right? An academy being an academy. Are you an academy coach? Because you can't have both. You can't be the player's agent and also the coach. In fact, somebody tried that at the LA Galaxy, not directly, but his brother, right? What are their names? Shit, I'm forgetting their names now. The 343 guys. You guys know them. He was the head of the LA Galaxy Academy, and he was telling players, instead of signing a contract with LA Galaxy, sign with my brother's agency and we'll try to send you to Europe. And then they pushed for those players to be on the USMNT. A lot of those players never made it. A lot of them never made it, right? Whether you're talking about Alex Mendez, Richie Ledesma, I'm talking about at a high level. Kobe Hernandez Foster, Uli Yanez, right? A lot of the guys that signed with them never really made it. And there was a big conflict of interest there where you can't be the academy head coach and also sending people away from the club. So an agent and a development coach are two completely different things. They shouldn't have the same job, right? And I agree with you about Cavan, by the way. I don't think City is the ideal place for him to develop either. I don't think he's ever going to be a Man City player. I'll be very surprised if he's ever a Man City player. Offside for Colombia. Oh, yes, 100%. Your taxes pay for public goods, including culture. Soccer is culture. Why not invest more in our youth? 100%. 100%. Our taxes also go to all kinds of cultural events, opera, ballet, things that are good for culture, right? Arts. You could argue that football, soccer is an art. It is an art. It's not just a sport. It's a culture. It's a religion. I absolutely think we need more investment in soccer, and credit to LAUSD for doing this now, for investing more money in making sure that every kid has access to soccer in Los Angeles Unified School Districts. That's 400,000 new kids, all of whom will have access to soccer just by virtue of going to school. We need more of that, right? Maybe it can't come from the school itself. Maybe the school doesn't have money, but the school district might have more money, and they can invest in that through partnerships with US Soccer. That's a very good step in the right direction. I thought Belgium did good not getting baited into our press. They just had their goalie boot it down before they had their six drop and get pinched. No, yeah, tactically they were very, very smart. But also we didn't press them that hard. We really didn't press them that hard. It was a very mediocre press, not at all like the press that we saw in the past. The players' parents are the ones paying the taxes that pays the coach. You just want to take a little from the whole community? I don't understand what you're trying to say here. Yes, all of us pay taxes, and those taxes go into education, right? Why would I take anything from the community? Like, what are you trying to say, Star Wars Satan? I'm really trying to understand your point here. What I'm suggesting that could be a benefit, although I don't think it's the answer, is that schools could invest a little bit more. The same way that Los Angeles Unified School District has just invested now in, you know, in all their players getting access to soccer from a young age. Yes, it does take money for sure. But that is not pay to play. Pay to play is when the player's parents have to pay $3,000 a year in order for their kid to play soccer. You could even have them pay something, $100 a year, right? I'm not saying there should be no paying at all, but we're pricing out lower income families whose kids could be very, very good players. So I don't understand really what your point is here. You're suggesting that we don't put any more money into soccer. Nobody should have to put money into soccer, not the state, not the education board, not the schools, nobody. That's just not going to work. Okay? It's just not going to work. It's either the parents paying or forcibly taking money from the whole community to pay the coach. Yes, yes. If you have 10,000 kids going to a school and the high school coach makes a few $1,000s more, you're really impoverishing the community. So that's ridiculous. And number two, the whole community also benefits. The whole community benefits, right? So you're acting like everyone's just shelling out money for something that they don't benefit from. People pay their taxes already. We can do a better job of maybe funneling more money into soccer development. That's all I'm saying. I don't understand. You have not made a comprehensive argument in any way, shape, or form. If you could make an argument for how you would want soccer to improve without spending any money at all, I'm happy to hear you out. But as of yet, all you've done is pretend to be outraged that I suggest that, yes, if you want better high school coaches, the schools have to pay them a little bit more. All right, Colombia, 90 minutes cross. No, never a penalty. My point is taxes are theft. I think you might be coming to the wrong place for this discussion. You should take that up with the IRS because this has nothing to do with taxes, buddy. And you still have not made a point about soccer. You have still not made a single point about how you would improve soccer. All you've done is shouted taxes are theft from the roof. Hey, Pete, enjoy the streams. Thanks. Of course, anytime. Richard Rod, did I miss another super chat here? U.S. should go after the Mexico coach, El Vasco. Who is El Vasco? Oh, Javier Aguirre. Aguirre, I don't know, man. I don't know about having a coach from our biggest rival coach us. I don't know if that's the right way to go. My kids' club, NEFC, does have a scholarship program for underprivileged players. That's good. That's a good start, for sure. That's a great start. How many of those kids, like what percentage of the academy is those underprivileged kids, right? Or those kids from underprivileged, not like underprivileged, let's say low income backgrounds, right? Because they might be privileged in other ways that kids whose parents have money are not privileged, right? But that's good to hear. And I know other clubs do that. I know there are clubs that do that. But if it's only one or two players or three or four players, then it's not quite the same. But, look, anything is good. Any effort to try to increase participation and coaching and development for players from lower income backgrounds is good. Again, if every single club in this country, there's tens of thousands of soccer clubs in this country, was doing that, that would have a massive impact right there already. Core, next World Cup. Hall, Ballo, Pulisic, Freeman, who else? I mean, next World Cup is a long ways away. Pulisic may not even be part of the core by the next World Cup, right? So if you think about it, you're talking about Julian Hall could, again, these are subjective ideas, right? These are players who could be something, who have the talent to be something, but we don't know how much they're going to develop. Julian Hall, Mathis Albert, Kevin Sullivan, Xavier Gozo, Adri Memeti. Those are 5 that I would put money on will be there in the 2030 World Cup. Not that they'll necessarily be starters or that there will be the core, but I think they will be involved and they will continue to push. Oh, guys, we're going to extra time here, aren't we? Any suggestions for development for ages 4 to 6? The ball, the ball, the ball, the ball, the ball. The ball needs to be their best friend. They need to play with the ball nonstop, have them dribble it around the house, have them develop core skills from a very young age, all different sides of the foot with the ball, the top, the bottom, the right, the left, roll it, cut it back, run with it. But more importantly, have them play pickup soccer with their friends. Okay. I know they're 4 to 6, so they're very, very young. Take other soccer kids in the community, whether you find them in school or if you don't have any in school, go to the local park and find out where are the kids playing, right? And if you have kids in school and you have a backyard, buy 2 little goals, buy 2 little tiny pup goals, all right? Or you even can set up goals with cones if you want, but play with them in the backyard, right? Play with them in the backyard. Have them play 2v2 with their friends, 3v3 with their friends. 4v4. Have you play 1v1 with them when you get home from work every day if you're the dad, right? Give them prizes and encourage them and give them positive reinforcement when they learn ball manipulation skills. As much as possible, spend as much time as you can with the ball when you're at the fundamental technique age. But more than anything, the more they play soccer with their friends in small-sided games without coaching or parental interference, the better they will be. Kick the ball. If nothing else, yes, find a brick wall or a concrete wall and have them kick it at the wall as hard as they can and then control it. Have them and do that 100 times a day with both feet, right? And then throw the ball up in the air as high as they can and have them learn to control it with their chest, with their thigh, with the top of their foot, with the inside of their calf. Have them learn to juggle, right? There are so many things that you can do in order to help your 4 to 6-year-old become technically proficient at the age when it most matters. Because those ages of 4 to 10, that's where the neural pathways are being developed. And that's where muscle memory is most easily implemented in kids. And the eye to foot coordination at that age is huge. Okay. I need Colombia to win. I need them to knock out Argentina. Yeah, you and me both. 343 was a conflict of interest. If you are a development/academy center that can develop players and have an autonomy on where players go, not just MLS. You can have autonomy on where players go, but if another agent comes in and says, well, I've got connections with Ajax and they want to sign this kid and that kid signs with Ajax, there's not much you can do about it, right? Oh, we're going into extra time, aren't we? Game over, 0-0. We're going into extra time, boys. We got another half an hour here at least, possibly more if it goes into penalties. Whew. This is a rough one. Not going to lie. I still have a Patreon video to do after this. Extra time because it's 0-0. Extra time because it's 0-0, boys and girls. I need to run to the restroom. I'm going to be right back. Hang out, be good. Don't start fights in the chat. To Rocco 2, thank you for the super chat. I'm back. I'm back. Yes, Justin, we definitely do. And there's going to be more videos talking. In fact, in the video I released today, I address it a little bit, some young players that you can look forward to. It's called The USMNT is Out. What Now? Make sure you go check out that video after the stream, guys. Also, hit the like button if you haven't already. We're going into extra time here between Switzerland and Colombia. List of players going into 2030 World Cup. That's a big topic. I'm going to do a whole video on this month about 10 players that I think will be involved with the US this cycle that are not there right now. Okay. So I'm going to do a whole video talking about this. But if you want a sneak peek into it, go check out that video. That video will tell you, at least it will give you a sneak peek. Guys, don't fight in the chat. We're all on the same team here. Phoenix Squid says, Pete, why can't we be like a Norway or even a 2018 Croatia, where we know we aren't the most talented and we know we aren't the greatest team, yet we play so above our capabilities and make our country proud? Well, let me be very clear. Both that Croatia team had world-class players on it. So I don't think that's a fair comparison. I would say more than likely we can still play above our level, but we're not at the level of Norway or Croatia. We have to develop players to get to that level. But definitely we can get closer. Pete, why is Mora way more developed than Cavan is for us? Well, Mora is an outlier. If you look at Mexican youth development, okay, they don't have anybody like Gilberto Mora. He's an outlier. Mora is just a better player than Cavan Sullivan. He is. At the same age that Cavan Sullivan is now, 16, Mora was one of the best players on that Gold Cup team that Mexico won. So they're not the same player. And I'm glad that Mexico, look, we should want Mexico and Canada and even other CONCACAF teams to develop better players and to make it more competitive in this region, right? We do not want a region where we are just the big dogs and nobody even comes close. Credit to, Curacao. They're trying to recruit more dual nats and they're getting a little bit better because of that, but they still have a long way to go. a long way to go with their own development. Pete, what is the meaning of life? Okay, what am I, a philosopher now? I don't know the answer to that question. All I can say is life is essentially meaningless, which is both terrifying and beautiful. Terrifying because the lack of meaning is terrifying to us human beings. However, the beauty is that you get to create your own meaning. You get to find meaning in the things that you do, in what you believe, in where you spend your time and your energy. So that's the only answer I have. Create your own meaning, find your own meaning in life. And that's a beautiful thing sometimes. 30 million watched on Fox last night. Missed opportunity, big time. Yeah, massive missed opportunity. Thanks. Feeling bad about this generation. Need a new one to look to. For sure. For sure. There will be some. It's not going to be a complete overhaul, but there will be some. For sure. What's your meaning of life? Oh, I mean, gosh, what do I? Mine is very simple. I think I've said this on the channel before. Oh, Switzerland clear. Colombia, not a penalty. Not a penalty. He dived. He dived. Not a penalty. My meaning is very simple. I try to spend 90% of my time, energy, and resources on three things: meaningful work, community, and adventure. You need meaningful work. You need to find meaning in the work you are doing, whether it's because you love what you are doing, or that work allows you to support your family, or that work gives you enough money and maybe some flexible time to pursue other goals, hobbies, or interests, right? Meaningful work can be different to everybody. I find meaning in the acting work that I do and in the soccer commentary that I do. I'm trying to grow the game of soccer in this country. That's always been the goal of this channel. So that is meaningful to me for that reason. Acting allows me to step into other human beings' shoes and play different characters in different roles and experience things that I would not experience as a person because I'm not that person, right? But everybody gets to find their own meaning with their work. For some people, meaning is raising kids, having a family, right? And their work allows them to support their kids and to raise, kids and pass on their genes and make good people, more good humans, right? So there's different sense of what meaning is, and everyone gets to decide that for themselves. Community, you need community to be happy. Some people find community in their family, in their chosen family, their groups of friends. Find community, nurture community. And then the last one is adventure. You need different experiences, right? That's how I do it. I'm not saying that's the right way. That's just how I find my meaning. All right, so that was not a penalty, but I didn't see the slow-mo. Some people in the chat are saying in the slow-mo that was a penalty, and they at least should have VAR checked it. Why did I think I found meaning in the USMNT? Because you do, and that's normal. People find meaning in soccer clubs and national teams all over the world, right? Outside the United States, this is very normal. We are actually normal. We fans who live and die for soccer, and it's a huge part of our lives. It's unusual in the United States, but it is normal everywhere else in the world. Anybody who's lived abroad or traveled abroad understands what soccer means to so many people all over the world. So you are not alone, and you are not foolish for finding meaning in soccer or in the team you support. I'm half Rican. Why do we allow them a national team? I know it's not an island of soccer players, but if they play good, they should be forced on the USMNT. Well, the reality is a lot of Puerto Rican players are eligible to play for the US because they're US citizens. But then they have to choose who they want to represent. Most of them are not good enough for the US, right? That's just reality. So they have a different option. You can't force anybody to play for your national team. And even if you can, that's a very dangerous thing to do, because then you get a team that doesn't really want to be there, that feels like they were forced to be there? No. they have to want to represent the national team, right? And unfortunately, there aren't really any Puerto Ricans right now that you look around and go, they would make us better. I found meaning in gym. Ha ha, big muscles go boom. Everyone finds their meaning however they can, right? Chris Armas is one. Yeah, there are outliers. There are outliers. Throw in. Pushed in the back. I ride my Peloton bike. Exercise is a great way to find a form of meaning. Good health, longevity. Your heart pumping, your blood flowing, your brain works better, you have better overall health, less likely to die from heart disease. That's a great way to find meaning. Pete, would you tune into the Women's World Cup? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Our women are very successful at the World Cup level. I think the world is catching up. I think the world is catching up with us, but we are very successful on the women's game. "97 minutes, guys." I'm just going to take a Halls here for my throat. Throat's starting to lose my voice, guys. I can't lose my voice during the World Cup. Okay. Colombia with the big switch. You guys think this is going to penalties? It doesn't look like any team's really going to score. Look at these stats. Look at the expected goals right now. It's still 0.45 and 0.30. Let me see, even if I reload it. Yeah. Still 0.45 and 0.30. Neither of these teams has really created much. Luis Lebovitz, combined with Telemundo, it combined to about 42 million on average last night. Oh my God, did we mess up bad? Yeah. Yeah, we did. That's a foul. That's a foul. So Colombia having a lot of possession. Haven't really created anything. I have another 20 minutes to go, guys. Another 20 minutes to go. Decent shot there. Kobel saves it. Yeah, we need a goalkeeper, 100%. Goalkeeper is our weakest position right now. It's our weakest position. Pete, thoughts on Portugal, Spain? I mean, I did that live watch along. Spain were the better team. Portugal were not, and Spain deserved to win. And even though it was a narrow win, the better team absolutely went through. Switzerland trying here. Foul? Yeah, that's a foul. Richard Rios with the foul on Vargas. Free kick for Switzerland. Which one of these teams is better at penalties? It's hard to say. It's pretty even. I mean, Switzerland have a better goalkeeper in Kobel, but penalties is more about them being able to hold their nerves, the guys who are taking the penalties. So let's see. Switzerland still in. Oh, they have a shot here. Oh, he's around him. Great save. Great save by the Colombian keeper. Oh, that was a good chance for Switzerland there. I don't know. Are we sure Freeze saves that? I don't think he does. Freeze was kind of a disaster, man. I know. I don't think Freeze gets down quick enough to save that. I really don't. Ooh, foul. Foul on Colombia. Oh, shot blocked. Corner for Colombia. We're about halfway through, guys. Halfway through extra time. Another 15 minutes to go, and then we will likely have penalties. All right, halftime of extra time. Halftime of extra time, guys. Pete, how can Colombia have a 37-year-old keeper still playing, but we have none? Because we haven't developed keepers. We've done a really poor job. We used to be very good at developing keepers. Anyone who's been around for a long time remembers Brad Friedel, Tim Howard, Tony Miola, right? Guys like that. Even Casey Keller. But now it's a problem. Why is that? Well, here's what happened. The world changed. The world changed. What the world expected from a goalkeeper changed. Goalkeepers started playing out of the back, playing with their feet, playing like an 11th man on the field. And the US did not change. So what happened was we developed a lot of players who are decent to good keepers, I suppose. But they couldn't play with their feet. And then we asked them to do something that they weren't good at doing. And for a goalkeeper, confidence is everything. If you're being asked to do something that you're not good at, as we saw with Matt Freese yesterday, it's going to affect your confidence. And that will then bleed into your shot stopping and your positioning and your command, and you're coming for balls in the air and your reading of the game and everything. So we're still a long way off from developing the kind of goalkeepers that we need. Luckily for us, Diego Cochin may, and I say may, be that guy. Ivan Barton masterclass? Question mark? Huh? I don't think he's doing that bad. Who do you want to win? Colombia. I want Colombia to win. We used to have a pretty good defensive team back in the day, and we thought we only needed forwards to improve it. Now we have forwards and absolutely no defense. Yes and no. I'm going to be straight with you. It wasn't our back line used to be good. It was that we used to defend in a low block as 11 with 11 players, and that's very hard to penetrate through, right? So we seemed better defensively. But believe me, if you asked Matt Beasler and Graham Zusi and Alexi Lalas and Gushi Onyewu and all of these, even Eddie Pope, all of these guys to defend in transition and ask them to defend 1v1, it would be the same problem. We've never had world-class defenders. We've never even had elite defenders, okay? So we did a better job of defending as a group defensively, low block, bunker ball. We did that very well. But it's not like our back line was incredible. It was just 11 guys all helping each other. Not a comment, just thanks for hosting the watch along. I'm supporting Colombia. Thanks, Alice. Thank you. Good luck. I'm supporting Colombia too. I didn't say world class. I just said that we had a good defense. Yeah, I mean, I would say as a team, we defended better, but that's all we were doing as a team is defending, right? It's much tougher when you're asking the team to go and attack and have possession and have the ball because you get hit in transition. And we never had defenders who could deal with that. We never did. Pete, do you have any optimism for USL trying Pro-Rel? If we do Pro-Rel right, that could open up the floodgates on development and kill pay-to-play. I will say that I am cautiously optimistic, and I'm glad that they are trying it. It is still an imperfect form of Pro-Rel, what they are doing, at least initially. But they are trying a different model. And Pro-Rel is not the magic bullet, right? It's not like just because you institute Pro-Rel, you're all of a sudden going to become a crazy soccer nation. No. But you're right. It, in theory, opens up the pyramid. But the pyramid needs to be below USL 2. How do you get into USL 3? You need to have a mechanism to allow non-league clubs to get into USL 3. They also need to get better at their own player development, and they need to spend more money on things like infrastructure and talent, right? If they're going to be successful. So Pro-Rel is a very good start, but it's not the only thing that USL needs to do. You can't just implement USL, do everything you've been doing this whole time and expect it to be a huge game changer, right? You have to implement USL in such a way that there is a level below you. Even in England, they have this, for example, right? Where you have four professional leagues, right? You have the Premier League, League One, League Two, League Three. And then below that is considered non-league. And non-league, that's where players play all the time. Wrexham was in non-league, right? They've got them up now to the championship. But once you win your non-league division, you have a chance to get a playoff to then get promoted to League Three. Okay? So then now, where's the incentive? You invest in players and development. That's what they did at Wrexham, right? It was this broken down club with no hope, a shoddy stadium, tales of like being good in the past, but they'd been shit for years. They came in, they invested, they rebuilt stands, they brought in some good players. And because of the mechanism that already exists, you have this Cinderella story of this non-league Welsh town going up and up and up, and now and then they're in the championship, and they weren't that far off from getting promoted to the Premier League, right? But you can't do that in the US. Why are Ryan Reynolds and Rob McEnany not doing that in the United States? Because the mechanism is not here. You have to be a billionaire to buy into soccer in this country, a multi-billionaire, right? You have to pay some $800 million just to get into MLS, right? So it's not about it's not about earning your way there through your play on the field. It's about a billionaire just paying a check and then you get an automatic spot in MLS. So yeah, that's my thoughts, Matthew. Okay. Colombia here. We're 110 minutes, 10 minutes left. Guys, this is going to penalties, isn't it? This is going to penalties, isn't it? I think they want to stabilize the top three tiers and then tiers below that after. I hope so. They have a lot of work to do, right? They've got a lot of work to do to make that work. And again, I'll say this one more time. If you believe in ProRel and you believe that ProRel is the way to go, then you should support it. Watch it. Become a season ticket holder of your local team, right? Go to games. Be loud. Be passionate. Make it financially worth it. If you make it financially worth, if USL sees a huge uptick in support by implementing ProRel, they'll have more money for players, for development, for infrastructure, for all the things that they need to be a successful league. So, and don't be a purist about it. There are some people who say, nah, it's not a true form of ProRel, therefore it's never going to work. Well, it's never going to work if we have that attitude. If we say we want a perfect situation or nothing, then it's never going to grow. So we have to be able to go support it, make it known with our wallets, with our eyeballs, with our attention that we believe in the idea of what they're trying to do. So take your kids, take your family, go to USL games, buy the jersey, buy season ticket, watch it on TV, make sure you make it known. I do that with Orange County FC, even though ProRel has not been implemented yet. I would rather support USL than MLS right now. And also the two MLS teams in my city, Los Angeles, do a terrible job of player development, right? So I'm driving down. It's a much further drive for me to drive down to Orange County, but I would rather put my money in a smallish club like USL, 5,500 seater stadium. Sometimes they play at a different stadium that has 8,000 seats, but I would rather give them and also the atmosphere is way better. It's so much more fun. Let's become USL shills. Thoughts on J League? Is it a league MLS should be? Yeah, 100%. 100%. We should try to. J League they don't go and buy, big stars, right, to try to make their league successful. They develop players. And look, J League has limited interest globally, and that's fine. But Japan's doing a lot better job of player development right now than we are, right? So what we can copy from the J League is their emphasis on player development. 112 minutes, still 0-0. Have you lost hope in the future of the USMNT? If not, what is keeping you from losing hope? No. No, I haven't lost hope. Because I'm looking around at the future. Well, first of all, I'm looking at the progress that we have made, which I know is hard to believe right now, guys. I know it's hard to believe. When you look at this loss and you go, well, we didn't go further than the round of 16, and that is true. But I would say that this Belgian game was an outlier from what we saw at this World Cup. We scored 11 goals. We've never done that in history at a World Cup. We've never even come close. We definitely have better players now than we've ever had. Unfortunately, there's a mentality problem that needs fixing. But also the talent pool that is coming through also has potential to be very, very good. So we have potential, not guaranteed, to be deeper. Okay. And also even if you look at the last 10 years, where we were 10 years ago, okay? We got to the Copa America semifinal under Jurgen Klinsmann. And then from there, it's been all downhill, right? We didn't qualify for the World Cup in 2018. Disaster. But then we qualify again in 2022. And we get out of the group and we lose miserably to Netherlands. It wasn't a good World Cup. We scored 3 goals in 4 games. One of them was an accident. The tactics were shit. Now we won 3 games at this World Cup, one of which was a knockout game. And yes, you can argue we didn't make it past the round of 16, but we still did win a knockout game. And we played a lot better at this World Cup. Outside of Belgium, we played a lot better than we've ever played at a World Cup. So there's credit there, right? We beat a Paraguay team. And that's not, we say, we beat small teams. We beat teams that had worse players than us. But Paraguay beat Brazil and Argentina and Germany. This isn't it's not like we're just thumping on minnows. We're able to now break down a low block. For 6 years under Greg Berhalter, we were never able to break down low blocks. It was a big problem. So there is progress, and I'm looking at the trajectory of progress, and I'm combining that with what I see in the future, and I remain hopeful. Oh, Colombia. Oh, they're in. Oh, they're through. Oh, he missed. Oh, my God, he missed. Oh, God, he missed. Hi, Leeds fan here. Why did Poch freeze Brendan out? I mean, the short answer, because he's not very good. He's not very good, right? He played in the Turkey game, and he was awful. That's just the truth. And frankly, for the U.S., he's been awful for a long, long time now. I don't think Brendan Aronson should be as involved in this cycle, to be honest. I think he should be one of the guys we're looking to replace. What? How is that a foul? That's not a foul. All right, free kick for Colombia here. Free kick into the box. Oh, they keep it in. Can they keep it in? Colombia player down. Brendan Aronson starts every game for Leeds. He's obviously important enough for them, and that's great. And maybe they have a system that, he can fit in. But when was the last time he had a really good game for the US? When? That's the problem. Did you see what the Paraguay senator said about Mbappe? Yes, I did, and it was completely disgusting. And I'm glad he responded to her and called her out for that bullshit. Absolutely disgusting. How long before we get Poch's decision? I think we'll probably get it by the end of the month. I think by the end of July, we'll know what's happening with Poch. Did you see Pulisic said he can now rest? Yeah, but it was in relation to the injury, apparently. I'm not going to repeat what she said on the stream, guys, but it was disgusting. You can search it for yourself. Google it if you want to know what she said. 2 minutes before we go to penalties, guys. 2 minutes. Switzerland cross. Cut out. We're definitely going to penalties here. USSF work begins now. 0 expectations. Yeah, fair enough. Top 3 favorite movies of all time? Unk? I'm not Unk. Get out of here with that. That's very tough. That's really tough. I don't think I have a top 3 favorite movies of all time. I'll be honest. There's many movies I like, but there's not a top 3 for sure. Nick says Borat, Hangover, Step Brothers. Comedies. Pete, you and I are Unk age. Sorry. I mean, maybe if you're 17, I'm an Unk, sure. But I don't think 30s is an Unk. Maybe that's to me, an Unk is like 55. Penalties here, guys. It's going to go to penalties. Yep, it is officially over, and we are going to penalties, guys. So for the chat, I know some of you are a little bit ahead of me, so I'm going to hide the chat while I watch the penalties. Inglourious Bastards is a great movie. That's a great movie. Right now, we're going to ads. You guys put in the chat, who do you think is going to win on penalties? Switzerland or Colombia? Switzerland or Colombia? Switzerland? I mean, I think it's very tight. I think it's very tight to call. It's going to be about who can hold their nerve, right? I need Colombia to win because I don't think the Swiss can beat Argentina. Okay. No, I'm rooting for Colombia too. I'm also rooting for Colombia. I'd say Kobel might be a slightly better keeper than Vargas, but I don't think it's about the keeper as much as can the takers hold their nerve. It's a mental game, penalties. It's a mental game. Swiss coach looks like a Bond villain. All right, let's go. Come on, Colombia, let's do this. Let's do this. Mr. Danny says, man, I'm so bummed about yesterday that I don't even want to watch soccer anymore. It will pass. Trust me, I've been where you are many times, and I have learned that it will pass. It will pass. If Colombia wins, I'm going to make a pot of coffee. All right, so Switzerland chooses the side. And Colombia looks like they're going to take first. All right, so Colombia will take first. And once he steps up, guys, I'm going to hide the chat, okay? I've got to hide the chat. Otherwise, you guys will spoil it for me. So you can still watch me, probably on delay if one of you is ahead. The slow walk from the halfway line to the other end of the field as the stomach acid gnaws at you. Penalty shootouts are great if you are a neutral fan. Yeah, I could never do it with the US. I could never do it with the US. It would be way too hard. All right. Here we go. First one up is Colombia. Oh, I better hide this chat before y'all spoil it for me. All right, chat has been hidden. Here we go. Woo. 1-0. Very good. Quintero, 1-0. So Colombia take the lead in penalties. 1-0. Let's see who's next. Good penalty. Coble dove the wrong way. A little bit to the center, but still a good penalty. Question is, if Coble had dove the other way, would he still have saved it? That is the question. Granit Xhaka is up for Switzerland. Granit Xhaka versus Camilo Vargas. He's breathing heavily. Oh, Vargas almost saved it, but it was a very good penalty. A very good penalty. Vargas almost saved it. That was close. He got his fingertips to it. It would have been an incredible save, but he was already diving too low and it was above him, so he tried to get his hand on it, but he didn't get enough of his hand on it. 1-1. All right, let's see who's next for Colombia. Ooh. All right, it's Sanchez. Oh, off the post. Oh, no, off the post for Colombia. Oh, no. All right, first miss from Colombia. Off the crossbar, not the post, the crossbar. Oh, unlucky. Ball didn't cross the line, so. For Switzerland, oh, Amdouni. Amdouni makes it 2-1 to Switzerland now. Amdouni makes it 2-1, guys. Oof. Tight. All right. It's 2-1. Both teams have taken 2 penalties. There's 3 left to go. Campaz is taking it. Oh my God. Kobo should have saved that. It went right under his body. He dived and it just sneaked under his arm. Under his arm and his torso. He really should have saved that. Oh, he didn't get down quick enough. Very lucky for Campaz, but still counts. 2-2. All right. If Switzerland missed this one, it'll be even again. Akanji. Manuel Akanji is taking it. Manuel Akanji, guys. If he misses this, then it's even. Oh, over over the bar. Manuel Akanji misses it. Over the bar. Manuel Akanji. 2-2. 2-2. 2 penalties left to take each. Oof. That's rough on Akanji, man. Just over the bar. Oh, saved. Oh my God. Now Colombia misses. Good save by Gregor Kobel. Ooh, that's tough. Switzerland are back in it. Hernandez misses it. All right. Now Switzerland have a chance to pull ahead. Oh, great save by Kobel. Really good save. Really good save here. All right. If Switzerland scores this, then they are very heavy favorites because there's only one left each. So Colombia would have to score the next one and hope Switzerland missed their last one. Let's see here. That's it. Switzerland scored it. So it's 3-2. So for Colombia to stay in it at all, they need to score the next one, and they need to hope that Switzerland misses. Oh, damn. Crazy. If Colombia misses this, oh, it's Luis Diaz. Okay. It's Luis Diaz. He's got to score it. He has to score this. He has to score it. If he misses this, then Switzerland are through, Colombia are out. Luis Diaz. He scored it. Very cool penalty. Just curled it almost from a standing position into the far corner. All right, it's 3-3, but Switzerland have to score. If Switzerland score this, it's over. If Switzerland score this next one, it's over. That's a great penalty by Luis Diaz. Okay. All right. Now it's all on Switzerland. If Switzerland don't score, and then we go into sudden death. Oh, the pressure. Oh, it's Vargas versus Vargas. Wow. Vargas versus Vargas in a knockout round deciding penalty. Oh, he looks nervous. He looks nervous. Scored it. He scored it. That's it, guys. Switzerland are through. Colombia are out. Switzerland are through. Colombia are going home. It's sad, but they had 120 minutes to score, and they didn't do it, unfortunately. Unfortunately. All right, so next up, Switzerland will face Argentina. Guys, I got to run. I got to go work on the Patreon video. Thank you for hanging out. Please go check out 2 things. The Patreon, if you want. Also, if you're not checking out the Patreon, or even if you are, I released a video today called The USMNT is Out. What now? Go check that out. I talk about a lot of the things that we were talking about here in the chat. Have a great one, guys. Hit that like button before you leave. And I will see you guys not tomorrow because there's no games, but I will see you guys on Thursday. Yeah, Thursday for the France-Morocco stream. Okay? All right. See you guys.